In India, every 100 kilometers, we have different dress, different food, different cap, different dance. Every 100 kilometer, it changes. That's diversity of our country. Am I okay in terms of speed? Okay. If you are wondering why I am not wearing shoes, three reasons. One, it's Earth Festival, so I'm trying to connect with the Earth. Second, I wanted to challenge also the thoughts that we might have of a person who is not wearing shoes. Are we open to newer ways of looking at things? That's diversity. Something that we are not comfortable with or we don't see normally. And if we see somebody else doing that, does that make us little fearful or little apprehensive? That's also one of the reasons. And thirdly is in India, whatever is sacred or spiritual, we do it without shoes. So for me, the talk is of that kind. So for these three reasons, I'm not wearing it. And the topic is unity in diversity. Before we start, we will do 1 minute of meditation. I will guide what to do. Everybody please close your eyes. Okay, and for this next 1 minute, just imagine you are the sun, or you are on the sun, the big ball of fire, the sun. You are on the sun, or you are the sun, and you are the center of the solar system. You have lot of light and lot of warmth. All the planets in the solar system are because of you. Now you are the sun and you see all the planets, all the beings, and now you also see Earth. Can you see the Earth? It's blue, green, white, one Earth planet. And you see the Earth from sun, you just see one Earth. So from sun, you are able to see the Earth and it's moving around the sun, and sun has created that Earth. Just absorb that feeling. And now in next 5 seconds, come to Portugal. Come on your land. And you see a different world. You see so many people who are different, who are not you. So much diversity. Now gradually open the eyes. You can gradually open the eyes. So in this meditation, when you were seeing the Earth from the sun, you saw one Earth. And when you came to Portugal and seeing people around, you saw hundreds of people. So unity or diversity is a matter of elevation. It's a matter of height. Elevation on two levels. Physical elevation and spiritual elevation. When you saw the Earth from sun, you were elevated at a very great height, physically and spiritually. So you saw one Earth. And when you come down to Portugal, when you reduce your elevation to ground level, both physically and consciously, we see so many diverse people who are different, who are not us. So that's diversity. So there is unity and there is diversity. It's just a matter of mind, what Paulo just mentioned. It's how you look at it. If you look at from that level, you see everything as one. If you look at from this level, you see as diverse. Are they opposites? No. It's the same truth. Unity and diversity is the same truth, depends on how we look at it. I'm okay so far in terms of speed and language? Okay, great. So I have spent a lot of time in forest, and I like birds. And when initially I saw birds, there are birds who have beaks of 1 centimeter, and there are birds who have beaks of 100 centimeter. So if I just arrange and there are birds who have claws like our fingers, and there are birds who have claws with all the flaps around. If I just arrange all the birds in this room, the bird with 1 centimeter beak can sit here with 10, 20, 30, 40. So you keep the bird with bigger beak sizes from this to this, and the claws from that to that. Claws without flaps and claws with flaps. Is it clear? So if you arrange all the birds, beak sizes, size of the beak and size of the leg, we can fill the whole room with variety of birds, different birds, bee-eaters, fishing birds, birds which stay on ground, which stay on trees, which builds their nest on caves. This whole room will be filled with variety of birds, because beaks, difference of beak and difference of claws make them different in terms of what they eat, how they fly, where they sleep, how they build the nest. It's all different. Each bird is different because of the beak and the claw. Now, why so much diversity in small species compared to us like birds? So much diversity. That's because if all birds were same, they would eat all the mosquitoes, they will fight to stay on the same tree. All their predators will multiply because there is so much of same bird available to eat. So this whole ecosystem will collapse. Now it's such a variety of bird. Some eats bees, some eat frogs, some eat bigger sizes birds, some stay there, some stay here, some stay there. So with so much variety, the whole forest is balanced. Nothing goes out of stock. There is something for everybody. So this whole ecosystem of a forest is balanced because of variety of birds. If there was only one bird of same kind, the whole ecosystem will collapse. Are you getting me? Same, if we take another example, trees. These days there is lot of development happening. Now these development cuts forest and say that okay, we will compensate the cutting of forest by planting some trees. Okay, so you cut this forest and you plant 1,000 trees here and we are done. Now a forest has trees of different kinds, different varieties. And along with the trees, there is soil, there is water, there is air, there are bees, there are bats, there are mammals, there are birds, there are spiders. So you have so many types of animals and so many types of trees. Like the classroom, multiple varieties of trees, multiple varieties of animals. When there is this multiple variety, it creates one ecosystem, which is life. Because the consciousness of different trees and different animals make it one life ecosystem, which has a different energy, which has a different meaning. Now when you cut a forest like this, which is an ecosystem, and do 1,000 trees of same type, it cannot compensate. The energy of those 1,000 trees and the energy of this biodiverse forest is very different. This forest with so many trees and so many animals is like our body. Our body is a forest. There are hands, there are livers, there is heart, there is this, there is this. And because of this variety of organs, which has a different function, which has different shapes and size, there is one body. So am I one or am I many? If I look from your angle, I am one, Dilip Jain. But if I look from my stomach, then stomach is different than liver, liver is different than knees. So it's diversity, but it's unity. Similarly, a forest with so much plants and animals is diverse because each is a unit, but it is still one. What I'm trying to come to is the concept of what is a unit, what is an ecosystem. For simple thing, each chair is an ecosystem here. Each chair is an ecosystem here. And all the chairs put together is also an ecosystem. So each chair is an ecosystem by itself, which is self-sufficient. And all the chairs put together is one ecosystem, which is an auditorium. So ecosystem is a system, a grouping of many units which work in harmony with each other, which balance each other. In forest, there is nobody who gives water. There is nobody who does cleaning. There is nobody who sows the seed. There is nobody who takes care of the forest, and still forest is flourishing. Because it is a self-balancing, self-sustaining ecosystem where there are no gaps, no overlaps. No gaps, no overlaps. That is an ecosystem which is in harmony, synchronized, working in a balance. That's an ecosystem. Each person is an ecosystem. I am an ecosystem by myself. Earth is an ecosystem by itself. Forest is an ecosystem by itself. My liver is also an ecosystem by itself. So each unit is independent ecosystem, and therefore we see diversity, and all put together is a unity ecosystem. But it has similar features. The earth has same feature as man. The earth has all the same elements that man has. Therefore it is said, if you understand yourself, if you go inside, you'll understand the universe. Why they say this? Because each ecosystem is complete, comprehensive by itself. So if you understand one ecosystem well enough, for example, if I understand man well enough, if I go inside well enough, I can understand the universe, I can understand the planet. Because the nature of ecosystem is same. Okay, am I too fast? Okay. Now these ecosystems have got developed over thousands and thousands of years. The human body didn't get developed in a factory 20 years back. It developed over 2 lakh years or whatever. So ecosystem which are self-balancing in harmony, which are perfect, gets developed over the years. Most of these are natural ecosystems. These ecosystems are called regenerative ecosystem. Regenerative ecosystem in the sense that in such an ecosystem there are no enemies, there are no friends. Everything is balanced and they regenerate themselves to sustain for long. They don't need an external thing to regenerate. So these are regenerative ecosystems. Then there are different kind of ecosystems which are exploitative ecosystems. These exploitative ecosystems are what we humans have developed over the last 200, 300 years. Where we don't see ecosystem as an ecosystem, we see only a component of the ecosystem and try to extract whatever we want. So if this ecosystem is a forest ecosystem and I like all the teak trees, I will cut all these teak trees and extract them for my benefit. But when I cut all these trees, this whole ecosystem gets disturbed. Before I cut these trees, this was a regenerative ecosystem. Now, we have created an extractive ecosystem where I cut all these trees, extract them, and when it is extracted, it is not a regenerative ecosystem. It needs lot of effort, lot of input. It has a lot of challenges because it cannot sustain, it cannot grow on its own self. So this is the new ecosystem that we have developed. Obviously, there is benefit to it also. With our human intelligence, we have developed so much in technology, so much in material wealth, so much in comfort. Just that we developed too much on the spiritual angle, too much on the physical angle. We missed out on the spiritual angle. We developed too much of the physical angle and therefore too much of technology and comfort, but somewhere we missed the spiritual angle. But for an ecosystem, you need physical and spiritual all in harmony to work together. So when we talk about unity in diversity, it is at core of almost all Indian religion. Buddhism, Jainism. Jainism is Lord Mahavira. There is this concept called Parasparo Graha Jivanam, which means all life is one. All life is one. And therefore, in our religion, there are certain concepts to explain to us how all life is one. There are some 7 concepts. Very briefly, I'll touch them. If we believe that all life is one, based on what I spoke about, that each life is one and all together is also one. So we are a component of the whole, but an important component, an important part. You know, in India, we have this system of joint family. So many people in the rural India stay together in joint family. Joint family is not nuclear family, like most of the developed countries where only the husband and the wife or the partner stay together. In India, mostly parents, grandparents, sons, daughters, brothers, all stay together in one house, 20 people, 30 people. They all stay together at many places in India. This is one ecosystem. And when there is 30 people staying in one house as one ecosystem, obviously there is friction. But there are benefits. Half the children don't have to struggle just to earn to sustain their food. They can go on the mountains and trek. They can become monks. They can go to army. They can roam around the world. Not everybody in the family has to struggle only to sustain, because the ecosystem is taking care of each personal interest. If there was no ecosystem of 30 people in a joint family and only 2 of us, then there is no choice, but you have to be part of the system to sustain and have food. But if you're part of the ecosystem, I can walk and I can do what I want and my family will support. Tomorrow my brother will do whatever he wants and others will support, and it goes on. So there is a different life, there is a different meaning to life. Yes, there are conflicts because in an ecosystem the frog will eat small fish, or the bird will eat, but it is not doing that out of hatred or out of jealousy. It is doing it because that's his role, that is his nature. Yeah, so I was talking about the Jainism, where we say Parasparo Graha Jivanam means all life is one. For all life is one, there are some 7 concepts that we are taught. First is ahimsa, non-violence. Non-violence, ahimsa, means you don't have to harm anyone. Because if in this ecosystem we harm any component, we disturbs the whole ecosystem. So the first idea is ahimsa, non-violence, do not harm anyone. Because if you harm anyone, all is one gets disturbed. Simple, right? If you kill all the spiders of a forest, what will happen? The disease will multiply because all the mosquitoes will increase because there are no spiders, and when all mosquitoes increases, everybody else will get disease and the forest will collapse. So ahimsa is non-violence, do not harm anyone, because if you harm anyone in the whole ecosystem gets disturbed. The second important concept is aparigraha, non-accumulation. Nobody in a natural ecosystem accumulates for 50 years. They might accumulate for a season. The bees would accumulate honey for 6 months or 3 months, but they won't accumulate for 30 years. But we humans do. Aparigraha is non-accumulation. Do not accumulate or do not gather wealth more than what you need, or more than maybe 5 years, 3 years. Because when we accumulate, we are snatching from him and her and them, and therefore disturbing the ecosystem. Therefore disturbing the ecological balance. Therefore disturbing the social balance. So non-accumulation, aparigraha is second important concept. That do not accumulate. Nobody in the animal world does it. Nobody in the plant world does it. Human does it, and does it like for 1,000 years. We have in India people who are rich, who have accumulated enough wealth to last 10,000 years. I don't know if humanity will survive that long, but they have enough wealth to sustain that long. So aparigraha is the second concept. The third concept is anikantvad. Anikantvad means multi-dimensionality. So when we go to, so most likely, and the current times, we are all trained to only think and see like this. So while in India there are hundreds of varieties of food and vegetable and dress and language and culture, if you go in cities, you only see McDonald's and Starbucks. That's monoculture. We are at a place, at a time where monoculture is very heavy. Monoculture is only one way of looking at things, only one way of doing things, only one way of thinking about things. Anikantvad, multidimensionality is how do you increase the dimension of how you look at the world, because each viewpoint, each thought, each dress, each culture has a unique element to it, and there is something we can learn from it. So multidimensionality is one very important concept. Yeah. Sorry, I'm fast because that's how I've been trained to talk. Okay, and then the fourth concept is non-stealing, asteya. Don't steal. Again, when we steal, it is disturbing the ecosystem. The fifth is satya, truth. You can't cheat anybody in an ecosystem, because whatever is truth has to prevail. Each of these concepts we can go a lot more in depth, but the point of saying this was, if the whole universe, if there is unity in diversity, one might think that diversity means more conflict, but let's think it other way around. Diversity also increases the spiritual characteristic. What I mean by this is, so if we add one more diverse person in a group, while it might increase the friction, it also enhances the group's ability. When you have a person who comes from a very different knowledge and background and thoughts. So when it's like an equation, mathematical equation, each element that we add to the equation makes the equation tougher, but also makes the equation much more stronger. So diversity increases the unity. If we start understanding this unity in diversity deeply, then there are so many things in life which can become very, very easy. For example, dharma and karma. We talk about karma, we talk about cause and effect. Every cause has an effect. It's not some far-fetched theory. If there is unity in diversity, and if this chair is harmed significantly, this whole group suffers. So there is a cause and an effect. If some part of the ecosystem is disturbed, the whole ecosystem is disturbed. So cause and effect is nothing but how, or if one thing is done better, the whole thing does better. For example, if one chair does extremely well in this room, this center chair, the whole room is doing better because one person did something extremely better. So when one element of an ecosystem does better, the whole ecosystem grows. And when one element is harmed, the whole ecosystem goes down. And it's simple cause and effect. Cause and effect, because everything is one. Any disturbance in my heart while my body is one, any disturbance in my heart will collapse the whole body. So it's only one component which is suffering, but because it's one, the whole body will suffer. Similarly, if I exercise and do well, it is not just my biceps which will get stronger, but the whole body gets stronger. So the whole ecosystem goes up together, comes down together. That is cause and effect. With cause and effect, we also understand this whole concept of will, swadharma. So in this ecosystem, if I understand that the whole group can do better because of my action, because I am one with all, then there is a lot more motivation to do better. Because with my will, if I do better in this room, everybody else will gain. So in an ecosystem, each unit can exercise its will, because by exercising my will, the whole group gains. It is said, whatever is good for the beehive is good for the bee. The current economic model is forcing us to think whatever is good for the bee is good for the bee. Don't care about the beehive. But the traditional knowledge says whatever is good for the bees, whatever is good for the beehive is good for the bee. So if we think good for the whole unit and do our best, everybody progresses. The human race evolves. And if we do only that which is good for me and doesn't care for anybody else, everybody comes down. So here comes the power of will, the power of choice. If we understand this concept of unity in diversity, we can exercise our choices much better. We can use our will much better. And we can understand dharma and karma much better. This is a deep topic where 30 minutes won't be sufficient. Also, English could be a constraint. I am here for next 5 days in case anybody wants to spend more time discussing, debating. You're welcome to join me, contact me and meet me. With this, I will put an end for the talk at this stage. Thank you so much.